Hi Whovians, Harry here, and back in 2003, Russell T Davies was given the insurmountable challenge of bringing back Doctor Who for the 21st century. And since he will be reviving Doctor Who for the 2020s yet again, I thought now would be a good time to look over his first revival of Doctor Who back in 2005. And does it still hold up to this day? And at the end, I will discuss whether I think we need another revival of Doctor Who. But before we get into that, I just wanted to say a big thank you to everyone who watched the Is the Meta Crisis Doctor the Valeyard video, because that video just, did way bigger than I thought. It went way above my expectations, and I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who watched that video, because I think it is the most viewed video on my channel. So thank you all who watched that video, and if you haven't watched it yet, I will link it up in the cards above. But with that out of the way, before we get into this video, don't forget to subscribe, also leave a like and comment down below, and let's get in to the video. So back in 2003, on Doctor Who's 40th year anniversary, Russell T Davies was given the challenge of bringing back Doctor Who, and later in that year, it was revealed that Christopher Eccleston would be playing the Doctor, and Billie Piper would be playing his companion, Rose Tyler. And this just took the fandom by storm. It became just loads of people just looking to see what would happen next. And also, when it eventually did air, it introduced a whole new audience to Doctor Who, myself included. And Doctor Who was very different from its classic counterpart. It was much more action-orientated and faster-paced than classic Who, cut into 45-minute segments, maybe a two-parter here and there, but very much it was more faster, more action, and a more grounded cast of characters. And it lent really well into the 21st century. It was clear Doctor Who was changing, and that was nowhere more prevalent than with the Doctor himself. At the end of the TV movie, Paul McGann's Doctor was a more romantic, hopeful Doctor, and he took off at the end of that movie just into all of time and space. However, when we rejoin the Doctor in Rose, in the first episode of the revival, he is much more dour and dark and basically kind of almost more grounded. And then it is revealed in the next few episodes that he is a Time Lord, but he is the last of the Time Lords. A massive change from the classic era where there was a whole planet full of Time Lords and they were doing fine. And that was a big change, and it came in the form of the last great Time War. And this mystery and intrigue was great. The intrigue of the Doctor being the last Time Lord left people hanging on, wanting to tune into the next episode to see what had happened to his race, what had happened to his enemies. And it was kind of drip thread throughout the series, and it was amazing. And the effect that it had on basically the Doctor being the last of the Time Lords, you can see that he is haunted by the fact that he is the last of his species. And throughout this series, his companion Rose gets him to open up, and we learn more about the Time Lords and the Time War, that it was a fight between the Time Lords and the Daleks, and everyone lost. All the Time Lords were destroyed. He thinks all the Daleks are destroyed, and through Rose, he grows and changes. And I think it's really good that we have a companion like Rose in the first series, because Series 1 showed why the Doctor needed a companion more than perhaps any other Doctor. And that is because, of course, he is haunted by the Time War. But through Rose Tyler, he found the time to laugh. He found the time to joke. He found the time to just live life and be happy because Rose was there, making him care, making him happy. Rose was the Ninth Doctor's therapy in the way that Donna's family is the 14th Doctor's therapy. And like the 14th Doctor's therapy, I think a big part of Nine's time in the TARDIS was family. Because Series 1 added family drama, giving the companion a reason to go back to Earth and a reason to care what happens to the people on Earth on a personal level. We saw her mum, we saw her dad, we saw her boyfriend. These characters gave Rose a reason to care about Earth, a reason to go back to the planet, a reason to be human, because she had people to care about. That was a massive deal, and it was unlike anything we had ever seen in Doctor Who before. And Rose's family life and care made the Doctor basically a better person. It is seen many times through Series 1 that Rose challenges the Doctor on his points, and Rose basically makes him nicer and care more. Yes, there are some episodes where it's the other way round, like in The Unquiet Dead, but it challenges the Doctor's biases. If you have ever noticed back in Series 1 that the Doctor actually makes a lot of wrong choices, because just take, for instance, The Unquiet Dead again, he decides that he wants to help save the Gulf, and they betray him. They prey on his humanity and his just being kind, and even though this was due to Rose helping him, this was against what Rose was advising him to do, because it wouldn't be nice to the humans that had died, because that's how the Gulf wanted to basically live. They wanted to control dead humans. And it shows that Rose's humanity can see maybe something that the Doctor can't. And it shows that the Doctor is not infallible. He makes mistakes, like when he took a year to get Rose back to London in Aliens of London and World War III. And also the fact that in other ones he just lets people die. He can't save the day in time to, like, say in The End of the World, he can't save Jade in Platform 1. He can't save people, and that is because he takes his time. He is more heartbroken of what he has suffered, and it makes him maybe less effective. However, through Rose, he became better, he became more caring, and even though you could still see throughout the whole series that he was battle-hardened and scarred by the Time War, it was basically throughout the series, it was shown time and time again that he would always give even the worst of enemies a second chance. Except the Dalek, but we'll get into that later. Series 1 gave us some of the best monsters and villains to care about, just by giving them backstory and showing through the episode that they are changing. I mean, this is most notably seen in Jamie, in The Empty Child and the Doctor Dances. It was just a boy looking for his mum. And also, Margaret in Boomtown, she was basically, all she had in Aliens in London and World War III was a family. And in Boomtown, she'd lost all of that. She'd started living a human life, and she was scared of what might happen to her if she ever escaped this, comfort zone. And then you could even argue that the Dalek in Dalek is a great monster and villain, and that it changed to be more human, because in that episode it spares Rose's life. It kills itself because it knows that if it doesn't, it will wreak havoc throughout the world. And it's just really a masterclass in writing from Russell T Davies to show us these monsters and villains that we actually care about. But of course, it wasn't just giving us tragic monsters and villains to care about that Russell T Davies did. He even made us care about random supporting characters by supplying them with an interesting backstory. I mean, most notably, Captain Jack Harkness, who was introduced in The Empty Child and The Doctor Dances. Of course, we know Jack nowadays, as just a friend of the Doctor and an amazing character. I mean, in Fugitive of a Jadoon, I didn't see anyone not happy to see Captain Jack back. However, it is almost like a lifetime away to believe that he was introduced in The Empty Child and The Doctor Dances as a con man, and he was trying to con the Doctor and Rose, but through Russell T Davies' writing, he became so popular that he eventually got his own spin-off. And even if you've never seen Torchwood, which fleshed out his backstory a lot, you know that Captain Jack Harkness is an amazing character in Doctor Who. I didn't watch Torchwood until the Capaldi era, and yeah, I still love Captain Jack Harkness. I wanted him to come back. I wanted to see more of him, and that is all because of the writing that changed him from a con man into a companion. However, Russell T Davies didn't only just make us love his characters, he also made us question them too, as seen in Dalek, where the Doctor's fire and rage boils to the surface with the revelation that the Doctor killed what he believed to be all the Daleks. All but one, because, of course, in Dalek, the main antagonist is a Dalek. And in this episode, we see that the Doctor's fire and rage, that he killed his own race, the Time Lords, just to wipe out the Daleks. And that might be all for naught, because a Dalek is alive. And in the final minutes of this episode, we see the Doctor pointing a gun at Rose and the Dalek, and the Dalek just wants a glimpse of sunlight. And once he has that, it kills itself, and it reveals that the Dalek is a tragic soul, and that the Doctor is actually maybe the villain in this story. He was ready to just tear the world down in anger just to kill the Dalek. He could have killed the Earth to just kill this one Dalek. And that challenges his own bias, that maybe he is wrong. Maybe there is good in the universe that he can't see because of his own biases. And through Rose, and even Jackie and Mickey and Pete and Captain Jack, he learns to put aside his own biases and become a better person. However, of course, this change takes time, because the Dalek literally points out in the episode Dalek that the Doctor would make a good Dalek, showing that he is much more like his enemy than he'd admit. And also, it's shown that throughout the series, he just leaves mess in his wake, like how Margaret the Slovene was still alive after the events of Aliens of London and World War III, and the fact that he turned the people of Earth into brainless sheep in the events after the Long Game. And if he had just stayed behind and helped clear it up, nothing that had happened in Boomtown or Bad Wolf and Parting of the Ways would have happened. Everything he creates has a knock-on effect that makes his life harder. However, through Rose, he becomes a better person and he helps people. It's literally stated in Stolen Earth and Journey's End that before the Doctor met Rose, he was full of blood and fire and anguish and revenge. However, she made him better, and it is seen so much in Series 1. And the bond between the Doctor and Rose is so strong. We see, probably most notably in Father's Day, how the Doctor would basically do anything for Rose because she saved her dad, which wasn't supposed to happen. However, the Doctor tries everything in his power to keep the change she made to time, even though he knows that just reversing this by Pete dying, that can fix time and everything can go back to normal. But he cares for Rose so much that he tries everything in his power to keep the change she made to time. And it's shown throughout basically every episode that Rose is changing the Doctor in little ways, making him kinder. And it's seen again in Father's Day that the Doctor longs for a normal life and someone to spend it with, of course, and that episode heavily implies that that would be Rose. And even though the 10th Doctor and Rose had a romantic relationship, it didn't come from nothing. There are hints of romance between 9 and Rose. Most notably, of course, the kiss in Parting of the Ways. However, their relationship can be traced back to basically the end of the world, the second episode of the revival, where they kind of go on a date at the end of the episode. You could even argue that the relationship started in Rose, but it builds on something so more. Everything from Series 2 and basically after came off the back of the success of Series 1. Yes, Series 1 was a runaway success. The BBC actually greenlit a Christmas special and also Series 2 on just after the reception of Rose. The first episode of the revival, they saw Rose and they were like, they are all in. And that just speaks to how successful and how good the revival is. I don't think Series 1 had any really bad episodes. And I think every other Doctor has had a bad episode. Just look at Fear Her in Series 2. Or Nightmare in Silver in Series 7. Or even Kill the Moon in Series 8. And of course, Orphan 55 in Series 12. But in Series 1, I can't think of any majorly bad episodes in the way that Fear Her, Nightmare in Silver, Kill the Moon, and Orphan 55 are. I just can't think of a major down point in Series 1. Series 1 literally had it all. Heart, time and space, the Doctor, an amazing companion, and also, of course, regeneration and change. Yes, I am so sad that we didn't get to see another season of Christopher Eccleston. He left the show far too soon in my eyes, and it is so sad we didn't get a Series 2 with him in it, because I would have loved to see more of him. And Series 1 was just so great that can it be replicated? That's right. Russell T Davies is rebooting the franchise yet again. However, does Doctor Who need it? Doctor Who is not in the same state it was pre-2005. We have had Doctor Who last year. We had 4 episodes. So does Doctor Who need a reboot? Not in my opinion. And Series 1 was so great. You can't recapture... It's like lightning in a bottle. You cannot recapture it because it was just so amazing as it is. And I would have just loved to see more of 9. But I am just so happy with what we got. Because if I could sum up Series 1 in one word, it would be fantastic. But that is just my thoughts. Let me know down in the comments below. What did you think of Series 1? I would just implore, if you haven't seen it, go back, watch it just for the nostalgia factor. But even if not for that, because Russell T Davies is rebooting the franchise yet again. So go back to see his first work of that. But also, if you like this video, don't forget to leave a like. Also subscribe and share it out. And I will see you in the next one.